Hello friends, welcome back to VOWIAS. Welcome to the mains test series discussion, and this is part 3 where we will discuss from question number 11 to 15 of test 9. And before we begin, a small information: the document that we use for the discussion is the summary document that VOWIAS has prepared. If you want to subscribe to the summary, you can mail us in the to the mail that is given in the description, or you can even comment in the comment box and we will get back to you. Let us quickly start with the discussion. So this 11th question, if you see, it is with regarding to the digitization of Indian judiciary. Indian judiciary is one of the most powerful judiciary across the world. But if you see, there are a lot of issues that Indian judiciary is facing. With regarding to the pending cases, there are more than 3 crore pending cases there, and also the staff is not sufficient. The overall judiciary is understaffed, and also there are over 33% pending vacancies in the high courts. All these things are the major issues. Under 142, Supreme Court will use all its power to do justice, and that is also becoming an issue, the judicial overreach and all. So now we are talking about digitization of judiciary. Digitization of all the sectors is something that we are looking at in these modern days. So now digitization of judiciary, what is the need and what are the issues and challenges, we will see. Under 142, Supreme Court recently issued guidelines for video conferencing to reduce physical interaction. Other major tech-driven reforms, including e-filing of petitions, virtual hearing, the live streaming of court proceedings, all of these things are the modern reforms that are being implemented by the courts. So this digitization actually is implemented under Article 142, because Supreme Court under 142 can take steps. It can take steps to do justice to the people. Now, what is the need for digitization in judiciary? First is real-time online data facilitate better identification and classification of cases. Plus, it enables high courts to exercise proper supervision and control of the subordinate courts. Also, there is reduction of paperwork. This is something which is very important. The physical records need large space to store multiple files, and it is difficult to manually preserve decade-old documents. So now with the digitization, it becomes very easy for the preservation of documents and to catalog everything in an easy and fast-forward manner. And the digitization makes things very affordable, because poor people, they cannot go to the courts every time for the hearing. Now with this kind of online hearing and all, the affordability with regarding to the courts and all will increase. Also, there will be transparency and accountability by allowing a precise record of proceeding and discourage improper conduct in the courts. Online resolution of contractual disputes through digitization will boost the ease of doing business, the confidence of domestic and foreign business as they explore investments in India. Now, what are the challenges with regarding to the tech in judiciary? The first is large proportion of the stakeholders like the judges, court staff and advocates, they face the lack of know-how with regarding to use of technology. They are not much aware with the technology. The second is only 27% of the courtrooms in subordinate courts have computers on the judges' dais, and 10% do not have internet facilities. The 103rd report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee identified the connectivity divide as a roadblock to the digital courts. The heterogeneity in internet penetration makes people vulnerable to the exclusion from justice delivery. Judicial data has sensitive information and litigant data. Just a second. Yeah, now it's working right. So the judicial data has sensitive information and litigant data. Thus, the electronic storing and transmission fuels security concerns, because with the digitization, one of the main issue is the security issue. Because there might be leaks, there might be hacks, and that will expose the sensitive information of the litigants. And after this, if you see the the procedural problems, the admissibility and authenticity of evidence received through video audio transmissions, the identity of a witness, confidentiality of hearings, all of these things are the procedural problems that are there. And if you see, the governments and judiciary, they overtook several initiatives like the implementation of e-court mission mode project, the establishment of the Judicial Service Center, the National Judicial Data Grid, the Legal Information Management and Briefing System, etc., to promote the digitization in judiciary. Because at the end of the day, we are now in those days where we are focusing on minimum government and maximum governance. So for this to happen, for the minimum government and maximum governance, digitization will play a key role even in the judiciary. Now let's look at the next question, the 12th question, and this is with regarding to the decentralization, the 73rd, 74th Amendment Act. The decentralization, it came via the 73rd, 74th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1992. This led to devolution of powers to rural, that is Panchayat Raj, and urban, that is Nagarpalika, and the locals. These are the local self-government institutions. But despite 3 decades of the amendments, the decentralization did not take place in the true sense. The funds, functions, and functionaries is still an issue, the 3F problem. The ambiguity about the functional jurisdiction of panchayats, in the absence of properly defined jurisdiction, it is dependent upon the discretion of the state legislature for assigning the function. The local bodies is in the grip of state bureaucracy, and the village pradhan has to approach block office several times for technical and financial sanctions. If you see, there is no mention of employees of panchayat and administrative autonomy. Even when their responsibilities in field of health and primary education were transferred, the panchayats have no control over staff and budget. This is also an issue. The powers of dissolution of Panchayat Raj institutions rest with the state government. And if you see, there is also a resource crunch. There is a lack of adequate mechanism to raise revenue for the local bodies. And the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, launched in 2018 and extended until 2026 to develop the governance capabilities of these Panchayat Raj institutions. The focus towards capacitating elected representatives of the Panchayat Raj institutions for leadership roles to develop an effective third tier of government to enable and to deliver the localization of SDGs. And also along with these, the orientation training will be conducted to the elected representatives within 6 months of election and a fresher training program within 2 years. Along with this, there is also initiatives to promote tech-driven solutions to enable good governance in the panchayats for administrative efficiency. And along with these things, there is focus on enhancing capabilities of the panchayat to raise their own revenue. The panchayat along with SDG, they are partnering. There is institutional support for innovations. And the Panchayati Raj, if you see, it will be recognized and incentivized by the performance. Handling by academic institutions to GPs for the Grand Panchayat Development Plan formulation, and the the activities with respect to the sensitization of rural masses, disseminating the government policies via electronic, print and conventional media. So these are the issues and about the scheme, the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. So this is about it. The next question, the 13th question, is on the cooperative societies. India has the largest cooperative movement. 8.5 lakh cooperative coverage is there in 90% of villages. They contribute 30% of sugar, 20% of milk and 30% of fertilizers. They ensure the sustainable livelihood and income for the people in rural areas. India's cooperative credit structure, if you see, there are 130 million members and it is one of the largest rural financial systems in the world. And the contribution is 15% of agri credit and provides protection against money lenders and exorbitant interest rates. And also they provide extension services, welfare and community services, etc. They provide administrative support for the developing of critical infrastructure and services, and they need to boost production on a wider scale. Also, they create opportunities for employment, income generation and availability of the goods and services. And all of these things, what it will do is it will stimulate the performance and competition. It will transform the survival type of activities into legally protected productive work, and it also engages the unemployed youth. And also they are often the sole providers of service in rural areas, and the sustainable livelihood due to their member driven nature is something that can be seen. Now, the issues plaguing the cooperatives, if you see, lack of participation, active participation by the members, and lack of professionalism, absence of cooperative governance, politicization, the bureaucratization and aging of the unenthusiastic employees. All of these things are there, and the government took various initiatives recently to improve the functioning of these cooperative societies. The various initiatives, if you see, the implementation of central sector integrated scheme on the agri cooperation for promotion and development of the cooperative sector across the country. Next is Ministry of Cooperation was established to provide separate administrative legal framework, and this will strengthen the cooperative movement. and the government approved computerization of 63,000 computerization of the primary agri cooperative societies. This is basically to bring in more transparency to their operations, diversification of business, and enable integration with the physical commodity and e-markets. And also this will increase the market access. The Ministry of Cooperation, it will start encouraging the procurement by cooperatives on government e-marketplaces. There will be special purpose vehicles to enable access to authentic sellers, the competitive prices and credibility as well. Right. So this is about the cooperation, the cooperative movement, the issues, and about the recent initiatives. So this topic will become very important from the examination, because from the last couple of years we are expecting but question did not come. So this will become important for this year mains. After this, the 14th question is on the interstate river water disputes. The interstate river water disputes, you can say it is governed by Article 262. So just write that directly. So the governance suffers from the issues due to the conflictual federalism, and the interstate river water disputes is one of the major contributor to the conflicts between the states. We have seen how the Kaveri has created a major tussle between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The present provisions caused the imprecise distribution of power between the center and states, creating federal jurisdictional ambiguity. The 7th schedule empowers the parliament to make laws for regulating the interstate rivers, but the ambiguity and everything remained because of the little political stake, and this led to the delay in the resolution, as the center takes years to refer the matters and also the tribunal take years to give its judgment. The Krishna Godavari disputes are the prime examples. The state list use term water. This allows the states to legislate on the entire extent of the surface water available in their borders, regardless of whether the source or the tributary is located outside its boundary of the river and it's draining into the state. These things are not considered. And in the independent India, we fused 571 states and carved states on the basis of the political, historical, and linguistic basis. And with this, we have very little regard for the historical and ecological dynamics. This led to the complications with respect to the existing jurisdictions and resource sharing agreements. Example, Tamil Nadu used bulk of Kaveri water to irrigate paddy fields, and the claims or the rights that they claim in the downstream, but if Karnataka is on the upstream, and they argues that the delayed development of irrigation in Tamil Nadu should not be the reason to forego their rightful claim in the upstream. So this entire dependence of Tamil Nadu on Kaveri is creating the major issue between the two states. Now, there is also difficulty in the conflict resolution, especially in the disputes that have political overtones despite being established for the implementation of binding awards. And the mechanisms to resolve the interstate river water disputes, the major mechanisms. First is the River Boards Act 1956. This will provide for setting up of the river boards for regulation and development of interstate rivers and valleys. Next, the Interstate River Water Dispute of 1956 that empowers the center to set up tribunals for adjudication of the river water disputes. Next, the National Water Informatics Center, which is set up under the National Hydrological Project to maintain comprehensive water resource data and collaboration with the leading research institutes to provide technical to the center and state organizations, and this will help them in dealing with the water emergency response to and also the hydrological extremes. And you have the web-based water resource information portal, which is set up, and all classified data of Water Commission and the Central Groundwater Board have been uploaded on this site. The federal consensus and electoral consensus is something that is very, very important, and they have to be taken into consideration. The solution must acknowledge that India's federal dynamics need confidence building between the center and states, and also this confidence building is very important among the states as well. Okay, so this topic itself, it will always be in the news because of some or the other issue, because a lot of states have a lot of conflicts between them with regard to the rivers. Not only states, even internationally we are seeing these kind of issues between countries. For example, the Brahmaputra issue between India and China, or the Indus issue between India and Pakistan. Now let's move on to the next question, that is about the Indian judiciary again. Already we have seen about the digitization. Now here this question is directly on the judiciary with their emerging challenges and how they are confronting it. Indian judiciary, as I said, it is one of the most powerful judiciary in the entire world. And this judiciary with more than 3 crore pending cases and lot of vacancies is becoming more and more inefficient. Now what are the issues? First is the dysfunctional criminal justice system. Historically, the public prosecutors do nothing to prevent the frivolous and non-deserving cases from reaching the courts. They oppose the bail applications as well. And also there is no accountability for faulty and delayed investigation by the investigating agencies. In India, the criteria followed in bringing legislation is constitutional validity. Lack of foresight in legislation can directly result in the clogging of courts. Example, the introduction of Bihar Prohibition Act in 2016 resulted in High Court clogged with the bail application. The courts face new type of problems. Example, dark web, identity theft and all. The new ones that are coming, the fraud transactions, hate speech, money laundering and all these things. Apart from the criminal law, there are complicated civil law issues arising due to the advances in technology, and they have to be addressed as soon as possible. And the complexities necessitate the co-opting of technical members in the tribunals. And co-opting technology for enhancing the access to justice advocates litigants from rural areas, economically weaker and disadvantaged people also. So the justice will not be denied to the people who don't have enough funds as well. Now the issues can be tackled in the following ways. The first is induct judges and lawyers well versed with the legal principle, those with understanding of the developments across the fields. Rise of specialized regulatory authorities like the Competition Commission, the TRI, the Electricity Regulation Commission, etc. And the legislators should make optimum use of the committee system, as such scrutiny improves quality of legislation. The legislature and executive need to work in tandem with the judiciary to fill the vacancies to make laws with a clear foresight. To insulate public prosecutor, the independent sectional committees may be constituted for the appointment. The court litigants advocates must have adequate infrastructure as well. So this is how the issues can be overcome, right? So these are the various issues that for today. Today we have discussed the Indian judiciary, the interstate rubber water disputes, and we have discussed about cooperatives. We have discussed about the decentralization, the 73rd, 74th Amendment Acts, and also we have discussed about digitization of Indian judiciary. That was the first thing that we have discussed, right? So these are the questions for today. We will meet again tomorrow and discuss from question number 16 to 20. If you have any queries, do leave in the comment box. If you have any suggestions, do let us know about them as well. So that's it guys from our side. We will meet again tomorrow with the next set of questions. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.